and they were talking about the CP3 versus James Harden turmoil in Houston.
Ooh.
So there was information that kind of leaked out about possibly Chris Paul asking for a trade. They came out today. Daryl Morey said that's not true in an interview. That's not the case at all. But as media heads begin to dig a little bit, they're starting to find out some information. Like CP3 said that he cherished playing without Harden on the court. A couple times he looked over at the coach and said, keep Harden on the bench because he was out there playing with the second team. Chris really wants the opportunity to coach James, is what somebody says. He wants to coach him.
Wow.
But James is not having it. They said that Chris's approach is probably not the best because he chirps and he doesn't let it go. He keeps going and going and going. And so now I'm looking at the situation, and I'm like, man, how are two alpha males going to play on the same team? So he has this fat contract. I don't even know if he's movable. Who knows what happens?
Well, you already know how I feel about the Rockets and Daryl Morey. So I probably shouldn't get too deep into that.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, when you look at that trade for Chris Paul, was that a mistake? So there's a bunch of things here. The trade for Chris Paul, the Mike Dantoni as coach, those really are two things that are factors when it comes to this conversation.
Could another head coach get more out of that team, though? They play. I think they're Harden's a perfect player for his system.
Yeah.
But I could also see how.
Yeah, I mean, the isolation system is to give the ball to Harden and let everybody else watch.
Right. But that's how I could see playing with Harden. After a while, it wears on you, and after a while, you're like, you're kind of forgotten there. So no matter how good you are, it's hard to play with a guy like that. And he gets his assists, but.
Right. No, he's an unselfish player. I mean, we're not talking about 4 or 5 assists just because, you draw so much attention and you have to get rid of the ball. No, James Harden is a willing passer, willing to pass to the open player. The problem is D'Antoni's system allows him to
take 30 shots.
Right. Now, strangely enough, if you look at the peak of D'Antoni's system, is Steve Nash, who was the model of uber efficiency. You know what I mean? Ridiculous efficiency.
Oh, yeah.
James Harden is not matching that efficiency. Jeremy Lin did it totally inefficient. Harden has fallen somewhere in between where, and I'm talking about a 44% field goal percentage. I'm not really comfortable with that number for somebody taking the most shots on my team. Right? And when you looked at Nash, he did 51-52. I would think if Chris Paul was the lead ball handler in that system, he would be a more efficient scorer than James Harden. And it's not a knock against Harden. It's really a knock against D'Antoni and misuse of his assets.
Yeah. The other thing that I read on here, too, they were kind of saying that your boy Chris Paul is not able to beat defenders off the dribble like he used to.
Oh, he don't need to.
So when he's looking at James Harden and telling people, pass the ball, sling the ball around, James is like, why would I listen to you? You can't even take anybody off the dribble anymore. So it's like it's just making the whole situation worse.
Yeah, that sounds really horrible. But again, I got to go to the coach because if I'm coaching that team, I'm taking Harden off the ball at least 50% of the time. Because truth be told, Harden without the ball seems to be more dangerous than Harden with the ball. Because
he doesn't even need the ball, Joey.
If you have to follow him,
need it.
If you have to follow him through 3 screens and Chris Paul is waiting for him to get daylight, you're finished. Because once he catches, you're done because he has every option available to him. There's no need to give him the ball and let him dribble for 15 seconds.
He doesn't have to. He's so good. Like, he gets to your spots, and he can hit from anywhere. And now you actually make the defense sag even more which opens the game up for other people, and then your game easier. So he doesn't even need the ball. So that dribbling the clock out and stuff, like, he's overworking himself, and he always talks about he needs help, and then he kind of burns out by the end of the season. That's the problem.
Right.
So I guess until he figures it out, then it'll just be the same way every year.
Right. So here is the Chris Paul trade. June 28th, 2017.
It's probably going to look really bad right
Oh. Chris Paul was traded to the Houston Rockets for Patrick Beverley, Sam Decker, Montrezl Harrell, Darren Hilliard, DeAndre Liggins, Lou Williams, Kyle Wiltjer, $661,000 in cash, a first-round pick in 2018 that turned out to be Amari Spellman.
That's a lot.
That worked out great. Not for Houston, but for the Clippers.
Right.
Because all those dudes you named that everybody doesn't know, they were balling all year.
Right. So let's talk about Daryl Morey and his analytics and why that is total trash. You basically replace Lou Williams with Chris Paul. All right? Where in your analytics does it say that Chris Paul is bringing a different skill to this team that's going to make the team more effective than what Lou Williams brought?
He says he wants to bring a third.
Doesn't make sense to me.
He wants to bring a third player in to help the team and to help the chemistry. I don't know who that would be.
Right.
LeBron, maybe.
Right. Now,
I don't know
imagine the Patrick Beverley, Lou Williams, James Harden backcourt. With Montrezl Harrell in the front court, along with Trevor Ariza, along with Clint Capella.
Man.
That team would have just won the NBA championship. It's ridiculous. The forwards.
It's a horrible mistake.
Decker could help. Ridiculous.
Montrezl Harrell was playing out of his mind last year.
Playing out his mind always. He's never stopped since Louisville. Montrezl Harrell is a player I don't understand because I don't see what his skills are. I just keep seeing the ball going in the basket. I don't understand.
That guy's screen and roll, pick and roll game is amazing.
Bro, no, do not underestimate him as just a screen and roll guy. No matter how he gets the ball, it ends up in the basket. You could just give it to him in the post. He's going to get 2 points. I don't know how he's going to do it, but it's going to be 2 points.
And he never gets tired.
I've never seen
him grab his shorts or be like breathing heavy or maybe he was sweating. The dude, it's like limitless energy.
Hold on, Danny pulled up his numbers.
16.6 points, 6.5 rebounds, 2 assists, 61.5%.
How many minutes?
Field goal.
How many minutes? It's like 12 minutes.
It looks like
that's crazy.
23 minutes.
23 minutes. He gets you 16 points per.
Efficiency rating. I gotta check. Minutes per game. Yeah, 26 minutes.
He's balling.
26 minutes. And how many points per game?
16.6.
16.6 points per game in 26 minutes.
6.5 rebounds.
At 61% clip. This is not a catch and dunk guy. This is not DeAndre, right, that's going to have a 60% field goal percentage because he's getting 8 shots a game, 7 shots a game, all under the basket. Wherever you give Montrezl the ball, Montrezl gets a bucket. And I cannot explain how.
He's over 60% every year.
Every year. That was what he was doing at Louisville. That's what he was doing at Louisville. It's not a back-to-the-basket game. There's no hook shot. There's no jump shot. I don't know what it is. He just scores buckets.
Now, when he was in Houston, he probably barely got off the bench.
How did he do? What was his numbers in Houston? Did he play 1 year?
Because I know he wasn't playing that many minutes because Dantoni doesn't allow you to play that many minutes if you're not in his first 6 or 7 guys that he likes.
He had his first year, 39 games, 3.6 points. He was only playing 9.7 minutes. Then the next year, 18 minutes, 9 points.
Wow. How do you not? Where's the analytics, Daryl Morey? How do you not analyze that?
Probably
Dude
because
is
he can't
scoring
hit
a
a three or
bucket every
something.
minute.
It's every other minute. You gotta, yeah. You play 40 minutes. He's averaging 20 points.
Well, how do you not analyze that?
You know what? Forget analytics. Jerry West took candy from a baby. He saw all those guys. He said, you know what? I'll take those bums. They're sitting on the bench. I'll give you Chris Paul. He didn't sit here anymore. Daryl Morey fell for it. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Analytics.
And when are we going to stop acting like Lou Williams isn't a beast?
He's a monster.
What?
And the only reason he's sixth man all the time is because he hasn't started like I think he probably could. But the sixth man is a good spot for him, but he kills it.
Nobody will start him and play him the way that he should be played. I don't know if it's a fear of him not being able to play defensively. I know he's definitely not a true point guard, and he's not a true two, so he's definitely a tweener. But the shots that he makes out of muscle memory is incredible.
These are guys, you bringing up guys that you don't pay attention to, but then you pull up their numbers and you're like,
he's a Hall of Famer.
20 points in 26 minutes.
Right.
He's capable of starting, though. And the reason I know that is because not only does he come off the bench, he plays clutch minutes. 5 minutes left to go in the game. He doesn't go back to the bench.
Right.
He just comes and gets you buckets.
Right. Right. And he's so beautiful to watch because the angles off the glass, the getting to a spot, he's just incredible. It's one of those guys where the skill level is just so high. No one is ever supposed to become that skilled at basketball. And he has that level of skills.
You're making me question.
So he said the Clippers, their entire team is built from a bunch of microwaves. Bunch of guys like the microwave Vinnie Johnson just coming off the bench, dropping 10, 15 points on you in 8 minutes and sitting down.
Right. And it's a joke because, in my opinion, you cannot win in the NBA without forwards. And they refuse to have forwards on the team. I still don't understand the Trevor Ariza situation. People have explained it to me 108 times. To me, it's all excuses. Because if I have a player under my control, he's under my control. How do you let that player get away?
And now
because of the playing games. They waited until the offseason, and Phoenix offered him $14 million, and they were like, oh, no, we can't match that. If they'd have given him a contract extension in the middle of the season, right after the playoffs end, they might have still had him.
Right.
Everybody wonders why Kawhi would go to the Clippers, but I'm like, they got a nice little roster.
They have a nice little roster. They have and they
Yes,
stole Zubac from the Lakers.
Oh, my goodness. That kid can play.
Right. Ron said, who? Ron, I'm talking about people that you're not going to see for 2 years.
I watch basketball, and I'm like...
Now, you might see Zubac next year. Ron can play. Not Ron, but Zubac can play.
Right.
Zubac can play.
Yeah.
I watch basketball, and these names, I didn't know their numbers were like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The other guy, I watched Zubac and Thomas Bryant destroy the G League one year. Both of them were on the Lakers. The Lakers had them both on the G League team, and they were just too much. Thomas Bryant ended up the season as a starter for Washington, and Zubac ended up playing a lot of minutes for the Lakers before he got traded to the Clippers. So
they won 48 games. It's like they were the 8th seed, but in the West, they're a good team.
What team is that?
The Clippers.
Yeah. And they tried to tank. They tried to give that up.
They wanted to miss the playoffs.
They wanted to miss the playoffs. And they couldn't do it because Lou Williams and Montrezl was just too much for everybody. All right.
If Harden and CP3 could use the chemistry from those State Farm commercials.
Oh, yeah, they're good in the commercials.
They'll be all right.
They're good in the commercials.
Oh, those commercials are done.
You know what needs to happen?
Commercials with those two.
Dantoni needs to get fired today. Today. If I'm the
They're
Rockets
still fumbling
ownership,
around with his contract.
if I'm the Rockets ownership, I'm going to get rid of Dantoni and Morey today. Because with Chris Paul and James Harden together, I actually should be able to do better in the playoffs than we've done. And I wouldn't mind having those two together on the same team. Their differences, I believe, are due to lack of coaching and lack of consideration of chemistry within the coaching and obviously within the roster as a whole.
What's strange to me, Joey, is that this year it didn't work out. The year before, when Chris Paul blew his hamstring out, it did work out. They almost made it, to the next round.
Right.
And so the only thing I can point to is Trevor Ariza and all those other pieces aren't there anymore to help Harden understand, we got to play like this.
Well, here's one
That's
thing that you might be missing. If Chris Paul's skills have diminished to a certain point where they didn't have any confidence in him, then that's something else.
Now, that's true.
And, of course, at this time in his career, what you were last year could easily be, be gone and not be where you are now.